I'm going to kick off this launch because, you know, you never know what people's time frames are and what is going on. But anyway, we are excited tonight because we are launching Awaken Your Divine Feminine. We have a beautiful poetry book going out into the world with a number of poets, a couple here now, and we have some more joining us, I'm sure, very soon. And I am just absolutely so thrilled that we have such beautiful, beautiful women who have contributed. We actually have one man who has contributed via a pseudonym. So we'll see if he pops online, because I have given him a little rustle on, you know, because we welcome all. And so we will see if that happens. But anyway, I'd love to kick this off. First of all, let's hear from Ali, maybe. Ali, would you love to share a little bit about what it was like to put this beautiful book of poems together?
Thank you, Annie. Well, the word that jumps off my mind is it really was such a privilege. So of course I can kind of get sort of wrapped up in the production and the edits and the emails and the design and everything like that. But I think what was really wonderfully unique, first and foremost, is to work with such a wonderful collective of poets. I have worked in fiction and nonfiction, but poetry is something that is quite new as a genre to me, and of course women's biz publishing. And I think what was so special about poetry book is that the theme can be pretty much anything that you want to go to, unlike necessarily like a business book or a memoir or something like that. And so the words and the experiences were just so unique and individual. And one of the things I kept catching myself doing is that whilst I was putting the book together and reading and working with everybody, who was such a pleasure, like I have to say a massive thank you to everyone's amazing, astute timelines and response times. I mean, I've got them around, like, I know Jacqui was probably up at the crack of dawn, I felt like, in her time zone, because it was midday for me in London. But I really got caught up in the words because they were so powerful, and the experiences you can get quite lost in, which I think poetry lends itself to. So I found myself going, Ali, you've got to go back to production head, because I really did get lost in the experiences. And there was just such a wonderful mixture of the vulnerability and love and grief. And the experiences were just so personal, but on a very, very deep level that you can't necessarily always get, especially in the world of social media, where we get bite-sized pieces, we get very surface level content. Whereas I think with poetry and this experience, I just felt like I had a wonderful keyhole into people's souls. And I know that can sound quite poetic in itself, but I just felt really quite taken aback. And I think because everyone had such a different style, really different style. And I think that's what's also so lovely about producing a collection, is that you really do get to see other people's viewpoints and feel hopeful, feel inspired, feel empathetic. And in terms of just the quality of our poets and our wonderful poetry, it was superb. So I loved it, and I loved obviously being one of the contributors, because, you know, that's also lovely for me to share my words. So I'm really looking forward to hearing people's experiences, and obviously people sharing their poems in their spoken word. Yeah, very special.
Well, thank you, Ali, and we all honor all the work that you have done to put this together. Do you have a copy of it right next to you? Because I know a couple of people haven't got a copy. Oh,
I do. It's beautiful.
Oh, JL's just come online. Show it to the screen. Oh, it's beautiful. It's got such a nice velvety screen on it, on a cover on it too, doesn't it? Doesn't it look so wonderful? Oh, I love it.
It does. And I mean, obviously we've got the lovely bios at the back here of everybody's lovely faces. We've got Patricia's updated photo. Thank you, Patricia, for that. And what we wanted to do is that we didn't want to keep it running for everybody's poems, because we wanted people to kind of have that experience of jumping around and not getting too locked into one style. And so as you see, they're peppered throughout, which I think is really lovely. So when you do get your copies, if you haven't already, I hope you really enjoy that feature that we've chosen for you there.
I really love it. I love it because, yeah, that's right. It just feels so different, but not in a messy way, just in a way of really just tapping into definitely women's hearts and souls. I love the way you shared that before too, Ali. And sorry, I don't have a book here. I've got a virtual screen because I'm sitting in a caravan in New Zealand. We've just been trekking for the day. I'm coming back to Oz, so mine's sitting on my doorstep. My daughter has sent me a picture to show that I have a brown box ready to open, and I'm like, can't wait, can't wait, can't wait. But I'm so happy that JL has just come on board now. JL's got her book, and so do you by the look of it, Jacqui. So I'm so glad it found you in the Gold Coast. So we've got authors from all around the world, which is just so wonderful. And yeah, it's always a logistical effort to get to everybody. So I'd love to hear from you, Jacqui. You came into this book a tad late, but so meant to be. I love it when sometimes you go, oh, what's happening here? And it's important not to just try too hard, because the right people just fall into your space, and you were definitely one of those. So I'd love you to share just a little bit. Do you have a favorite poem? What was your experience like? How excited are you? How are you feeling today?
Yeah, thanks, Annie. I'm just so excited and so grateful for the opportunity. And our stars did align, coincidentally, or not coincidentally. I just think we met at the right moment, and I had collated this beautiful selection of poetry that I've been writing for many years, that a friend of mine offered to put up on a blog for me through COVID, and to know what I could do with them. So I was just so thrilled to have the opportunity to be involved in this. Yeah, I've written over the years. I started writing when I was younger at school, but I just never really did anything with those poems. They were just personal, for example. And then same thing as I became an adult. And then I tragically lost my brother Justin when he was 19 years old. And as part of that grieving process, I started writing poetry, just to help me through it. And then when social media came about, I started posting those poems on his anniversaries and on his birthdays. And then I became a mum and had children and started writing poems through their journey. And then I started sort of looking at cities as if a city was a woman, or a country was a woman, like New Zealand and Hawaii and Sydney, and just sort of evolved my collection that way. So yeah, I'm very grateful again for having the opportunity. I'm excited for the first time to be published. And yeah, I just offered, a few of the poems that I've written, and I can write quite organically. I just have to be in that moment, I guess, as many poets, and really get in that emotion and that feeling. So one of the poems I wrote that's dedicated to my sister, I wrote on the day that I sent it through to Ali, and it was the last poem that I put in. So I just had to really take myself into a moment to think it through and just feel the words as they came out. So yeah.
So beautiful. I love it. On the day you sent it to her, you just whipped up another poem. And you're a real prolific writer, incredible gift, incredible talent, and one that I'm just sensing really is just it's just becoming, right? Sometimes people go, wow, that's a lot, that's amazing. It's like, that's it. You go, no, for you to be at this stage of your journey, and for them to be coming so easily, maybe not easily, they'll still take time to perfect, but yeah, it's a real gift. And you can tell in those that I've read. I've just only read that e-copy, but absolutely beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing them with us. And we got so many of them, which is so great. And as I said before, there'll be one of Jacqui's, and then there'll be one of Patricia's, and then there'll be one of JL's, and we'll just rotate throughout the book, all of our beautiful, beautiful poetry. I'd love to hear from you, Patricia, over in UK.
Hi, Annie. Hi, everyone. You just wanted me to tell you about my journey?
Tell us about what your journey has been. When did you know you were always a poet? When did this kick in? When did you start writing poetry?
Well, I love that word you used there when you were feeding back to Jacqui, the word becoming. because I think, and that resonated with me, because I didn't know I was a writer and a poet until recently. And until recently, I realized there was always a writer and a poet in me. I just never nurtured or nourished it because I was in my own way, basically. I'm not creative, all of those things I said to myself in my head and out loud at times. So I probably would have thought, oh, I'm becoming a writer, becoming a poet, but it was always there. But what I am doing is becoming more me and authentic and real, my emotions, my life experience coming out in my writing. I think I've always written. I have a drawer full of notebooks of stuff, but just stuff for myself. It was bearing my soul to myself, I guess. And I think it's from what I've learned in the last few years, it is a process of self-reflection, pausing, self-expression, which does soothe the soul. But at the time, I didn't know what it was actually doing for me. I was just writing because there was always a writer and a poet in me. So I think over COVID, like a lot of us having time on our hands, but I just wanted to fill you in a story of why I kind of started writing and how it became that feeling inside to share. During COVID, I was in London. My whole family, I have a big Irish family. They were all in Ireland. And I was away from everybody and anybody. And in the cupboard, in a box, at the bottom of a box with books, I had a poetry book that I had bought, 25 years ago, a long time ago. Just, I don't know how I bought it. And I rooted down to that box and I pulled out that poetry book during COVID. And you're on the phone and video call with people you love and family and friends. And I started reading this poetry book and reading poems. And then I started saying, would you like to hear a poem? And I suppose some of them, to humor me, would go, okay then, Patricia, And I started having these amazing conversations with people and realizing how many people did love poems. And then they started recommending writers and said, did you ever hear this? So it was so organic and so not thought at all. It was just one of those things during COVID to lift people's spirits, and it did. And then I started, it began this thought of me, let me write something. And I had always said to a friend, I'm going to write a story about that someday. It was a personal, kind of a joke between the two of us, really. And I was like, I'm going to write a poem or write something about that one day. And I did. And then we went for this COVID distance walk. And I said, I've written that thing. And she's like, oh my God, let me hear it. And then she was like, I love it. I want to frame it. And I said, well, it's only a bit of fun. And that's really how it started. And then I wrote for my family, being away from them in COVID. And then I put it in the local radio station. I read it out. And it just went from there, really. And it hasn't stopped. But there was a voice in my head going, a few poems. You'll only get a few poems and that'll be it. So enjoy it while it lasts. That inner critic, that all of that. But I was thinking, okay, let me enjoy it while it lasts. But I'm glad to say it's gone on. And I am privileged to be here today with other creatives, other writers, other poets, and just to share in a book, my first publications. I feel very proud of myself. And I know that there's people who said, they're proud of me. Thank you very much. And it's that achievement and that taking that pause and reflecting on the journey and I've enjoyed, the great thing about this is I've enjoyed the journey to pieces. The destination is only one part of it. Being here is a little achievement milestone along the way. And I'm delighted to be here. And the first publication, but I've just the process of letting go, getting out of my own way, writing the poetry, letting what's to be is a beautiful thing. And I'm glad that I didn't push myself. I didn't have this attachment to an agenda, a destination, that I really enjoyed it all. So that's my little story in a nutshell. Thank you very much.
Oh, I love that. Because I can just feel the personal growth, the freedom. I'm sending a sense of, real release when you step into this new sense of self, this, confidence that, at that time when you've got, I think anyone, if you've written poems and you've put them in a, in a cupboard, right? Or you've put them somewhere, it's like you wrote them for a reason. It's something that is organically coming out of you. And so much of what we do, it's so easy to just suppress that and go, oh, it was just me having a little doodle. Oh, I'm not really a poet, or I'm not really a writer, or this probably isn't going to add any value. Whereas that's so not true. And so I love that. I love that actually the weird things happen in COVID, right? That, that's a time that you're feeling in times like, yeah, I'll share a poem, and how powerful that can be. And also how wonderful people are that, why should we think they would mock it or not like it? Most people go, wow, thank you so much for sharing that part of you, because the world is craving more authenticity. It's craving to actually get to know people. And that's one of the things that I've noticed of reading through the book. You really feel so intensely connected with the author so quickly, because poetry, you just can't hide. Like it really is. It's just your soul laid bare, right? It's just super, super cool. So I'm so proud of you. The first two people sharing, and first time published authors. I mean, that's huge. It's absolutely huge. I'm so excited that you've had this opportunity to share with this collective, and it's only just the beginning. Absolutely just the beginning. So in a couple of weeks, Ali shared before a little bit, we'll also then go on to Amazon, and we'll do a big run for that. Let's see if we can get it to become a bestseller as well. On Amazon, there's many different ways and formulas. We'll tell you about that behind the scenes, but I'm super excited just on this launch day, because this is what it's about. It's actually just saying, here I am, these are my words, this is and I hope it's a release for you, and it's also incredibly valuable to our readers. So welcome those who've come along. Welcome Helen. Helen is Jacqui's mom, which is pretty gorgeous. Helen has just been in another book of ours. It's just amazing, these connections that we're making. So absolutely wonderful to have you here. And welcome to Prue. Prue is one of our authors and also our editor. So she makes everything just look amazing. So double role in this first book with us. So welcome Prue. I'm going to jump over to JL though. JL, thank you so much for joining us. Now JL's been writing a lot of poetry over time, and we're so thrilled that she's shared some with us in this poetry book. What's your experience been like, JL, and do you have a favorite poem in the book?
My experience was that back in 2014, out of the blue, when I was going through a lot of healing from my life story, one day I just started to write poetry. I just wrote a line. I get a line in my head and think, I've got to write that down. And next thing I have a poem in like 2 minutes. And I remember one day I wrote 12, and at 11 o'clock at night, I went, stop. I don't want any more lines going through my head. It's the beginning of that, and I wrote a lot down, and since then I have that experience all the time. I'll get a line, I think I've got to write that. I'll come on my iPad and I write down that, and it's done and it's dusted. So as a result of that, yes, my first book has 30 in it, my second book has 50, and my third book is purely verse, so and there's 100 in that one. And then, Annie, I know you reached out for this one and said, have you, and I thought, well, I haven't got any, I'll just write them for you. So I did. So it's really, really wonderful to be a part of this experience. And in looking through the copy that I've had, sent to me, thank you very much. There's such a variety of styles and messages, and that are, sent through these verses. And my style is unique to me, and someone else is unique, to Ali or to Annie and the other ladies here today and gentlemen. And yeah, I think that's great that you've got different takes, because people, some don't to the others. So my journey has, I guess, been since 2014, just writing, just getting lines and writing poetry. It doesn't take long to sort of put it down. So my favorite one, I guess, and I thought, am I allowed to read it?
Absolutely.
Is that what we?
Yes.
Yeah. And
Go
I
for
will preempt before I say that this has been an extremely busy day. I apologise for lighting. I'm up on 10 acres in the Adelaide Hills, and I've just ditched my grandson that I've been playing in the mud with all afternoon, and I've run into their lounge and set this up. And so the lighting's not great, but I'm here. I will have to exit at 7:30 because I've got a dinner that I've got to go to down on the plains. So when you see me go, it's not because I'm bored, it's because next bit of my day has to happen. But look, my favourite one was the last one that I wrote, and it's called, and I'll just read the blurb out. Music is a joy, because I'm a music person, I'm a vocalist as well. So this one sort of sings to my heart. Music is a joy that delivers peace to all who hear it. Mothers have the same ability to enhance a child's life with peace. So where music and mothers unite, harmony and joy are surely the experience for all within this reach. So, and it goes like this. When the harp met the woodwind, the music was exquisite. But when together they met the violin, what magic this did bring. Then along came the piano, adding dimension to the sound. The triangle knew it could contribute, so in unified step it tagged along. Not to miss out on all the fun, the trombone gave depth. And along with the depth, the flute added detail. With all of this frivolity in the air, the harpsichord chimed in. The drum could not help to add its timely beat. Standing proud and ever so wanting, the clarinet tuned itself and blended in. And as if right on time, the guitar strung a chord. The cymbal, well, it knew the time had arrived to introduce the orchestra to the guests they had formed to meet. The soloist, the one for whom they played, a guest like no other. One who carried compassion, who nurtured, who flowed effortlessly through life, who sang as she danced, who caressed those for whom she cared. This was the mother of all creation, the one they all would learn, would unite the instrumental pieces together in harmony, in joy. So that is the favourite out of the ones that I contributed. So thank you. So that's my little contribution. Thank you for having me here tonight.
It's not a little contribution, it's a huge contribution. And they all just make it. They all make it absolutely together. And did you find that, Prue, as you've contributed, so I want to hear about your poems, your poetry, but I also want to hear about what it was like. It's just such a different view. I imagine JL's sort of sensing that too, when you've had something that's just your own work. And then suddenly you do a collective. It is quite different. It's very different. So what was it like for you editing and jumping in and out of different styles and different voices? And it must have been an amazing experience, actually.
I did. Yeah, that's true, Annie. I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was, for me, I've never edited like an anthology of poetry before. I've edited plenty of books, but not poetry. And you know, it's one of those things that you can't really change, because it's coming from the soul, it's coming from someone's heart. So I can't really go in there and put in my ideas and say, well, actually, I think it would sound better like this, because it's poetry. It's like art, you know, it's completely subjective, and it comes from the heart. So, but I loved, my favorite part of the anthology is everyone's little stories as well that go along with the poems. And I think that just brings this book to life, because, you know, a lot of the time you read poetry and you're like, oh yeah, that was great, but like, what the hell was that about? Really? Like, I have no idea. And so I think sometimes having a little intro, or, you know, just getting the author's perspective on what their poem is actually saying, or where they were in their life when they wrote it, I think it really brings something to this anthology personally. So I loved it. I love this book. I think it's likewise, Helen. I think it's like such a great yeah, I think it's a really beautiful piece of work. Everyone should be really proud of themselves.
Oh, absolutely. I love what you said that, because I thought that when we sent it off to get edited, I thought, how do you do that? Like, it's different from when I've written things and other people write. It's kind of like going, well, you need an editor to actually really say, well, that could be rephrased, that could be written in a different way. Whereas poetry, you've written it specifically in that way. So it must be so hard. So I'm glad you've said that. That would be very challenging. I love your suggestion of putting those little stories, because particularly me, I noticed the difference of, you know, for me, I'm like, oh yeah, that was interesting. But I went, oh, is it necessary or not? But that's because I totally know what I was, you know, when you just know what you've written, and therefore you assume everyone would get that full value. Whereas when I then read
Exactly.
everyone else's, I'm like, oh, that's so good. I'm so glad that was there, because I just got this extra depth and connection. And then after I read it and then I read the poem, I'm like, it just definitely took me to another level. So brilliant suggestion of yours there. So
Honestly, we'll set a trend. People will start doing it now all the time, I think, and their next their poetry anthologies, they'll be like, how about we give a little intro? So yeah, but I think it really brings something special to the book. So well done, everybody.
have you written, so if you haven't published a poem before, Prue, this is new for you as well?
I published a poem quite a while ago, probably like 10 years ago. It was in an anthology, but not since then. So yeah, it was all very new and exciting. So yeah.
And has it activated this new desire? Is it something that you go, I've enjoyed tapping into that again now, and I will do some more? Or
I have, yeah, I already have. Yeah, I've been tinkling away again. So it really did. Yeah, it's such a good release, I think, to write poetry on music, I think, you know, and
yeah.
and as I said, you can't really judge it. Like, you can't say that's a terrible poem or that's a, you know, because it's so personal, and it's so as you said before, it's so authentic. So yeah, I love it. I love that form of writing.
Fantastic. Have you been able to get your hands on a copy yet, Helen? Or are you waiting to read it all?
No, I haven't yet, Annie. I've had a look at Jacqui's, and then she went to Queensland, so I'll have to get a copy.
It's going to be in your Christmas stocking, Mum. So I've already...
there you go.
There you go. It's coming your
Thank
way.
you.
This book is perfectly timed for Christmas stockings. So for everyone, because this is getting recorded, I'll be playing it through all of our socials, because we're all on different time zones. And so, yeah, it's definitely an opportunity to purchase now. You can buy it via womensbizpublishing.com. And also it will be very soon on Amazon as well. For those people who prefer a Kindle, that will definitely be there by Christmas. And we'll also have some little specials there as well. Ali, have you written much poetry before?
I used to have a dabble maybe 10, 15 years ago, before I started writing anything, actually. Even before like proper Facebook, I would tinkle away at poetry. And I did have some poems published in the Elephant Journal, which was a very kind of good home for sort of this type of writing. And I used to be part of a writing circle that used to meet every Sunday night in Bondi, and we would write poetry, either prepared or we'd come together, pick a theme, pick some music and write to that. But I haven't touched poetry since then, actually. So a bit like Prue, it's sort of like awoken a bit of a calling, I guess, in me to go back to that style of writing, because I think we all get stuck into kind of commercial writing and business writing and, you know, nonfiction, like, you know, that style for me personally. So I think it's a very vulnerable act, because you're chipping away at a different layer. And I think, you know, we can all have a bit of an imposter syndrome, or am I sharing too much? Or is this, you know, is this going to resonate with people? And I think, you know, to hell with all that. As Prue said, you know, you can't critique someone's truth in that way. And so I think I'm all for a bit of vulnerable, courageous word usage. So I have, but not for a long time. So this was actually very unique for me as well, in that writer's perspective. Yeah. Fantastic.
Did you have a favorite poem in the book?
Of mine?
Yeah.
Or anyone's? Mine?
Yes.
Oh, does that sounds a bit ego driven, doesn't it? My favorite poem of me? I did.
Yeah.
I did, and I'll read it for you. It's all about unrequited love, and I think most people who've walked this planet will know what that feels like. And I'd love to say it's more of a fictional recap, but it isn't fiction. It actually was moi. So it's called If I Can Say That I'm Falling in Love with You. And the blurb is, there is nothing more painful than unrequited love, whether lost love is through abandonment, grief, bereavement, or even a straying eye. Falling in love with a black hole of absence can be brutal. This poem is about one woman's declaration to a man she loved or thought she loved, and else the next day. So, if I can say that I'm falling in love with you, if I can say that I'm so tired I'm breaking, if I can whisper, please, please fix this, I can hope that we are dreams making. If I can ask you how your wedding plans are turning into real, if I can muster up the bravery to ask your color of quill, if I can step away and see her joy and angst for the big day, I can see that these moments of pleasure are cruel and futile, let's pray. If for me to crumble before you, if me to say the end, if me to say that I let you go, then go, just go, don't pretend. If I watched you for a second more, if I retracted all that I said, if I deleted your number like you did me, I would have begged and begged and begged. So that's my little experience of unrequited love. One of. But yeah.
One of.
Yeah, it was actually in that time. I think sometimes, you know how we say that writing can lead us to answers, and sometimes, you know, we talk about journaling, and we talk about how if you get the thoughts onto paper, you can actually find your own answers. Very sort of, I mean, it's very frank, it's very confronting, and that is probably a little bit controversial, I would say, but that's, you know, that's life, that's poetry, that's art. So yeah, that was a very difficult experience, but I think the poetry actually lended itself to a little bit of self-forgiveness and comfort. Yeah.
Was that around the time we met, Ali? Is that
yeah,
the
like
man I'm thinking of? Was it that man?
I've unpicked this poem a little bit, and I have actually written more to it. Yes, it was somebody who, I feel like I'm in therapy. It was somebody who I knew, and I knew that they were blah, but I was very vulnerable, and I had, you know, and I really, you know, it's an awful thing, and you don't act on it necessarily, but it doesn't mean that you don't have the feelings. We can't switch those on and off. And so, Prue, yes, I probably have shared this with you over Chardonnay. And I'm sure that you gave me some great words of wisdom back in the Bondi day.
I probably just filled up your wine glass.
You actually did, yeah.
Very
yeah, it was very special to me.
Well, Ali, thank you so much for sharing so personally with us at this launch party, and welcome to Joy, who has joined us as well. It's so wonderful to have people supporting our fellow authors at this time. So welcome to you. I thought I would share one of mine and my little story too, and I'll actually read the one that sort of, I think, pretty sure opens the book. As I seem to hog the limelight. Sorry about that, ladies. I always seem to be the first and the last of every book, like every good bookend. It just seems to be my little formula. But my journey, and I remember sharing with Ali, going, oh yeah, because I actually dreamt the cover. Like I dreamt that image. It was really bizarre. Dreamt this image, and I said, we're going to have a poetry book, you know. And then Ali's like, really? And I said, yep, I've got the picture. I can see it. I've just got to find it. Anyway, it was really bizarre. So I'm like looking through different. And then suddenly I saw it. And I'm like, going, that is it. So had I previously seen it? I don't think so. It was a bit woo-woo. But anyway, that's all good for me. So that was amazing. And then suddenly, like, I said to Ali, yeah, I've got heaps of poems. She's like, really? And that's true because I spend most of my time writing business content, or I've been a CEO for years, so I do lots of, more articles and bits and pieces. And but when do I write poetry? I write it on planes. I write it when I'm on holidays. I write it like now I'm in New Zealand and I'm trekking, and I suddenly get into this different space. I feel like in the calm, in the quiet, I just tap into different parts of myself, or even just my thoughts about things. And so that's probably why I called it, Awaken the Divine Feminine. And so mine is one that is probably along that theme. I'll put my specs on and have a little read for you. So it says, in the depths of the earth and the heights of the sky, in the oceans that ebb and the mountains that rise, there is a force that flows through it all, a power so great, yet humble and small. She is the divine feminine, a force so strong, a creator, a nurturer, a healer for so long. She births life and tends to its growth. She loves and protects and nurtures our souls. Her energy is soft and gentle like the breeze, yet it can move mountains and uproot trees. She is the embodiment of love and grace, and with every step, she illuminates our space. Sorry, I didn't realize it went on for so long, but anyway, I'll just keep reading. Her essence is the light that guides us through the dark. Her compassion is the fire that ignites our spark. Her wisdom is the water that quenches our thirst, and her power is the earth that grounds us first. She is the goddess, the mother, the divine, the source of all creation, the light that shines. She is within us and all around, in the air we breathe, in the ground we pound. So let us honor her and embrace her grace. Let us welcome her love and welcome her warm embrace. For she is the divine feminine, the eternal flame, and in her arms we find home, our sanctuary, our name. That was my little poem at the beginning. And it comes from just my obsession with how amazing women are, and how you can be so powerful, and also just so gentle. I just find every time I sort of reflect on the power of women and how women are amazing, as are men, Frank. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're not anti-male, but we're also just appreciating how incredibly strong women are in all that we have the capacity to do and be involved in. But also that doesn't mean that we need to, be male, try to be someone else. We can actually be all those things while just being our true essence, and letting that sort of just flow on to others. So anyway, a few of my poems will have that theme, but it was just great. I loved having the opportunity to share it. I certainly never thought I'd be part of a poetry book, that's for sure, because I was a bit like you, Prue. I kind of like to see.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't actually even printed out in a box. They were just on my laptop, just kind of it's almost like some people doodle. I then go and put all these sort of words together, and I'm like going, yeah, I like it. But I never would have thought to show anyone else. So I actually am excited for this opportunity for all of us. I know some are further along the journey than others. And I know, JL's been many times published with her poetry, but it's always super exciting just to see who anthologies bring together. And we've got other authors not here today, Esther and Bracha. Are we missing anyone else?
Patricia?
We've got Patricia. Patricia's here.
Oh, is she? Hi, Patricia.
Yeah, yes.
Akleema isn't here,
and
but we've been
Akleema.
messaging.
Yes, so we've got Akleema
Yeah.
and Bracha. But so hello to those lovely ladies. If you're watching this belatedly, you might be on a different time zone as well. So we apologize about that. But most importantly, it's just a really wonderful opportunity just to get together, to share our excitement, to share our joy, to share our appreciation and of each other, and to honor the women who have really revealed their hearts and souls into these words, and that it's also not all about us. It's about those people who are going to buy Awaken Your Divine Feminine now and are going to read these words and go, wow, you have just opened up a whole new thought process for me. You've actually given me an opportunity to pause and reflect in a different way. And different readers, I know already, will relate to one style more than others, or they might just love a whole lot of poetry, who's to say. But and that's all good. Like it's all wonderful, you know. So and this for all of you is a start that, you know, they've definitely, you know, go on and create your own books, obviously through Women's Biz Publishing. Very good idea. But definitely do that, because always if there's a little bit coming out of you now, and some of you now more and more and more, you know, it's meant to be. It's a real gift, and it's one that definitely needs to be shared with the world. So I'm thrilled that we could have this moment tonight. Tonight for me, this morning for you, lovely ladies on the other side of the world. Yeah, we need to now just start sharing our book with everybody. So we'll be doing lots of posting now. Books can get to people before Christmas. So definitely all of you put in your orders with us. All authors get specials, and then you can sign them for everyone you know. That's the most exciting part. Signing your name, writing those messages, putting it in someone's Christmas package, or giving it to a neighbor or someone who you know is even just been having a hard time or something. Just bless them with a book of poems is so just, you know, it's unlimited the value that it will have for them. So think about that. Joy, did you want to pop online, because I haven't actually given you the opportunity before we wrap it up? Whose friend is Joy? Your friend. She's a very quiet friend, Jacqui.
My friend jumped on, but she had some connection issues. But Joy is actually one of my mum's best friends as well. And she was the mother of one of my school friends, high school friends, and so I've known her for a long time, and she's been a beautiful mentor, and an amazing woman in my life. So thank you, Joy. I only just sent her the link just before, so it's really nice.
Oh, thank you, Joy, for sharing this very special moment. And who else do we have on board? Frank, you have just been sitting there. You are front and center of my screen. Screens just appear differently for everybody, so you never know how that sort of works. But you were just leaping out at me, Frank. So what enticed you to come and share in this very special moment today?
Well, Patricia is a colleague of mine. We used to do poetry evenings together, you know.
Ooh.
So it was just nice to support her, really, because she supported my book when I did it. Because I love poetry. I love using poetry for insight and coaching and kind of just personal development and transformation. So when I heard that she's part of an anthology, I thought, yes, I'm so happy for her.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Wow. Oh, we do need to definitely pop in the chat your link to your poems too, Frank. We'll check you out. That sounds absolutely wonderful. And who else do we have joining here? Sorry, I've got to put the specs on because I can't see much in my little cabin here where I am. M. Donahue. M. Miss M, Mr. M. Who have we got here?
That's Marie, my friend.
Oh, hello. Sorry, that's me. I'm a friend here supporting Patricia. Sorry, I've got the camera off.
That's okay. Another friend of Patricia.
Unfortunately, compared to you ladies, I don't write any poetry, but you've actually inspired me listening to all your lovely poems that you've read out for us. Absolutely amazing. You're very inspiring, all you women, and Frank.
I love that. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh,
We
thank
will.
you.
We will.
Beautiful way to start a Thursday morning.
Oh, that is great. Wow. Fantastic. Well, thank you so
Thank you.
much for sharing. We won't go on and on, but we are thrilled. What I would love to ask for all of our poets, though, I would love you to read some of those poems. And so if you're not all of it, because you've got to buy the book, you know, you can't just go give it all away. And mind you, it's just so good when you hold that book and you really delve into it. But maybe, you know, just a few lines, few teasers. definitely. I want to see you front and center. So don't be thinking, oh, I'm just in an anthology. You're seriously a published author now globally, right? So I want you to really own that. I want you to make sure that you promote that. I will get some next assets done, really highlighting you with the book, all of that. So, you know, we're all into honoring the collective, and then that gives the value, but we also want you to not shy away from sort of going, oh, I'm just a little part. You're not. You're such a significant part of this whole book, and I'd really love to see you becoming more prominent with that on social as well and within your networks. So did anyone else have anything finally to share before we went on our way today?
I didn't actually read a poem. Would you mind if I just
Oh,
read
I
one?
would love you to read a poem. Yes, please.
So I've written one. I was going to read She is the Flower, but because my mum is online, I'd like to dedicate this one to her. So I wrote this about her. I was having a really, really rough time at work, and you know, sometimes things just crash on you all at the same time. And I called her, and then I sat down quietly and wrote this poem. So it's called Who Will I Call? Who will I call if I can't call my mum? Who will be there to warm my heart like the sun? Some days I'm living the life to my heart's desire. Other days I'm lost and it can feel so dire. But who will I call if I can't call my mum? Who will be there to warm my heart like the sun? When I try to find comfort, there's only one person I call. No matter what happens, she's there through it all. So who will I call if I can't call my mum? Who will be there to warm my heart like the sun? Sometimes the little things are not big at all, but there are some days I still trip and fall. And it's you that I pick up the phone to say, hey, mum, your voice warms my heart like the fire of the sun. I wish we had a million years to come, and I know one day I won't be able to call on you, mum. And then who will cheer me on even though I haven't won? Who will take my calls when I need to turn to someone? I'm so grateful for the years we've had here together. And as we both get older, it's inevitable our time won't be forever. So I'm holding on to the comfort in your words that I hear for the special time that I still have you near. Because who will I call when I can't call my mum? To replace you, there will never be anyone.
Oh, seriously, I'm just crying. That is so beautiful. That is, wow. And look at your mum. Your mum is your mum is the
No,
most
but and it's because
divine soul.
amazing opportunity with you, Annie, as well, that I had this opportunity too. So it's just lovely.
Oh, so lovely. Wow. Powerful, right? Poetry is powerful. Powerful and also powerful, but a blessing. A blessing. It's a blessing for your mum to hear that. It's a blessing for her to know how you feel in such a powerful, passionate way, right? And then it's confronting. We're all confronted by our own mortality, right? You know, and poetry doesn't shy away from that. You know, it's confronting, but also beautiful, really beautiful. Would anyone else like to read a little snippet of writing? Yes, Patricia, I would love to hear yours.
I'll read my love letter to self, speaking into Ali's poem, The Unrequited Love, the love we mom, all the love that's around us in different types of love. And I had a bit of an issue with self-love and loving myself and self-care and all of that. So there's just to say that in it, there's you're as exquisite as that bouquet, flowers in that bouquet. And people said, what's that about? Basically, during COVID, every time I went shopping, I bought myself flowers. It was something I had thought about doing for a long time, but it was kind of that symbolism. So looking at that was interesting, a symbol really. So love letter to self. At this time, as I do alone myself find, I decide to write a letter from a truly loving mind. I write, my dear, you truly are the loving kind, and beyond doubt worth loving, this letter will be signed. Oh yes, you are amazing, and your love you do deserve. And from these loving, thoughtful words, please don't ever swerve. From the unique beauty that is inside you, yes, you are as exquisite as those flowers in that bouquet. And from these thoughts, please dare not ever stray. Instead, be led to the marriage of your heart and soul and mind, so that your true love you can always find. Don't let that love for yourself be ever shaken. Let it be that ever fixed mark which knows no tempest from which to be ever shaken, as true love is never shaken. Not by wind, gale force, tornado, or hurricane. Please do not ever love yourself in vain. Do not to your heart admit self-defeating impediments. Do not let your love be stained with sediments of unworthy, undeserving thoughts, as they simply are not true. For you are always worthy of love, for simply being the miracle of you. Thank you very much. So everybody, write a love letter to self, work on it for 2023, the end, and 2024.
Yes.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We need a lot more self-love in all of us, right? We're way too hard on ourselves. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. This book is gold. It's absolutely gold. I'm so excited. Just can't wait to get back to Oz tomorrow and get my little one opened up. Would anyone else like to share anything before we head off? No, we're going to keep all the rest as treasures.
Can I just ask about the recording? This is being recorded, so you're going to use it on social media, so we'll be kind of copied into whatever's happening.
Sure will. Yeah, absolutely. So I'll put that out, because with everything that Women's Biz Global do, we're all on different time zones, and I'll pop it out. So I'll pop that out pretty much after this, and I'll tag all of you in, so you can share it with everybody who's missed it, and definitely encourage them, as we do all now, to buy Awaken Your Divine Feminine, and you can get it sent to you. So you can buy it through womensbizpublishing.com, and you can get it sent out. Ali will make sure it's sent out to you as quickly as humanly possible around the world. So super, super exciting. And all of you, for the authors, if you don't get it in the next day or two, just let me know. But it definitely should be very, very close to you, particularly Patricia. And poor Prue, who had a terrible time today.
Oh my God, don't send it to Lennox Head Post Office, because
that was all I got. Great.
Oh my gosh, she said, oh, maybe actually, I think maybe we've sent it back. I'm like, okay, great, cheers. So I'll probably get it in 2026, but I'll just buy a copy.
Oh my goodness. No, we just have to send it to a home address. Post offices are tricky.
But I'd just like to say thank you to everyone for contributing, and for just for all your beautiful work. It was a real pleasure to edit, so thank you, and thanks for making it happen, Annie and Ali. So yeah, great team.
Cool.
No, likewise, I echo everything, and thank you for those words. There's no better way to start a cold, dreary English winter than feeling this uplifted and inspired. So thank you all so much for your vulnerability, dedication, and of course, Annie and Prue, it's always wonderful to create books with you both. So, or us, actually, as a collective, all of us.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. All right. Much love to you all. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will talk to you very soon. And for those of you who have just joined as guests, we really look forward to your reviews. So let us know. Make sure when you get those books too, take a photo of yourself with the book. Make sure you post that. We love seeing readers with our books.